It's Ash from SuperVideos back for another video for the Walking Dead spin-off Dead City with Negan and Maggie. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a very popular theory which has to do with an ex-savior, Simon, returning in flashback in the Walking Dead Dead City, which is definitely a very intriguing and exciting theory to take a look at. So stay tuned, we'll be right back to break this down. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's dive right into it. Now, of course, I did a separate video talking about the idea of seeing saviors back in Dead City and the ways that that could go, and I'm not going to go through that again. But one of the topics that we briefly talked about was the return of saviors in flashback, which is the topic of this video. So we're gonna dive deeper into that theory, and the savior that we're gonna really focus on is Simon. There's been a lot of speculation that Stephen Ogg, who of course plays Simon, will be coming back to portray the role of Simon, and he's going to be involved in a scene which is a flashback, which ties in directly with the storyline of Dead City. But let's backtrack. Let's take a look at everything that we know about Dead City's plot so far. So of course we know that Negan and Maggie are going to be searching for Herschel Jr., who's been kidnapped. Their journey will actually take them to Manhattan, and that's where they're gonna find a new community or settlement called New Babylon. Now, what's definitely super interesting is that they came out and teased that Negan's past will come to haunt him, and that he's going to be a wanted man in this new show, and that there are going to be people who knew him as a savior, as the savior's leader, I should say, who are coming to take revenge for the things that he's done to them. And here is where things get interesting, because we know we're gonna get introduced to a character called the Croat. I don't know if that means he's from Croatia, the country, or if this has a different meaning, but this is the guy that's portraying this character. And it seems like this is the guy who will be coming back to take revenge for the stuff that Negan has done to him in the past. Now, one thing I do want to mention quickly, Herschel's disappearance or kidnapping might not directly link with the story with the Croats, and the reason why I say that is because that's too convenient. I feel like even if the Croat knows where Negan is and the people that he's associated with, why would he kidnap the kid and take him away? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't quite line up. I think the more realistic way that the story can go is for the kidnapping of Herschel to be a separate story than this story with the Croat. Like, the story with the Croat being something that happens as a result of where they are and the journey that they're going on, but it's not directly linked. I feel like that's the more organic way for the story to go. Now, there are other things that makes the story even more interesting, and that has to do with a bounty hunter who we see here being hired by someone, most likely the Croat, to search for Negan. We actually see a Negan wanted poster in the trailer, so we know that this bounty hunter is going to be searching for Negan. Now, this is where the flashback stuff and Simon's return comes into play. There's been speculations that we're gonna get a flashback in Dead City where we're gonna see Negan, Simon, and probably some other saviors. And this is gonna take place during early days of when the sanctuary was built and when the saviors came to be, the saviors as we knew them back then. And the idea is that Simon is either gonna be Negan's right-hand man like he was when we met him, or he is going to be a lieutenant of the Saviors, much like Dwight at that point. And what we're going to see is a scene where Negan punishes one of his lieutenants, possibly his right-hand man, who would be the Croat, or someone related to the Croat, or someone that the Croat cared about. And that leads to the stuff later on with the Croat wanting to take revenge for the stuff that Negan did in the past. Now, this is where things could get a little interesting, because if they go a direction where maybe Negan punished the Savior's original leader, and they go a direction where the Croat is the original leader of the Saviors, then that could be some great setup for stuff that they can do in Dead City, which I'll get to in a few minutes. The other ways I feel are more underwhelming. Like if it's a lieutenant that Negan punished, then it doesn't have quite as much impact. The weight of it is not quite as great as it would be if it's something more significant. Now, if it was Negan's right-hand man, then there could be some cool stuff, because obviously that would mean that Simon takes over after that guy was punished. But then that begs the question, why didn't they kill the ex-savior or the right-hand man? So that's another angle that we need to think about that complicates it. But if it is in fact the leader, then it makes sense why they wouldn't kill him, because they wouldn't want to make a martyr out of him. And I feel like that would be a more natural and organic progression of the story if they go that direction. Now, I'm not saying that the angle with Negan punishing his right-hand man and Simon taking over would be interesting. It's just not interesting now. It would have been interesting in season 7, not right now. But I feel if they do go a direction where it was the original leader of the Saviors, then things could get more interesting, because then at that point, Negan has an angle with Maggie. Maybe Negan can tell Maggie about how things were run back then before him, and how the Croat was this monster, even more of a monster than he was. And at that point, there's some mutual understanding and some mutual goals between Maggie and Negan to go after the Croat. Because otherwise, why would Maggie want to help Negan? It just doesn't make sense. So I feel like that would probably be a more interesting angle and more interesting direction for the story to go. And I'm definitely intrigued to see what is going to happen with the scene. I mean, is it going to be a situation where Negan punishes the Croat or someone that the Croat was close to by ironing their face like Dwight? Or is it going to be more a situation like we'll see another Lucille moment, maybe something along the lines of what we saw with Negan and Simon? He was just about to Lucille Simon at one point, but he didn't go through with it, so maybe it's something like that, but it'll go a direction where he will actually go through with it, so we'll see another lineup type scene again, or whether they're gonna do something different, something that's fresh, and something that's not as repetitive. Because we've seen the lineup thing done quite a few times, and not just on The Walking Dead, but also on Fear. They did that like once or twice, and it feels like that lineup moment or that type of scene is losing its impact at this point in the universe. But I'm definitely intrigued to know your thoughts and opinions about this. What are your thoughts about Simon returning? And obviously, I have to stress this is not confirmed. It's speculation, but I'm definitely intrigued to know your thoughts and opinions, so share that in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.